everyone, it's SJ. A warm welcome to my place and to Baby Name Mondays. This name list, you're gonna love it. I think it's our dream name list because we're a bit obsessed with nature names over here on this community, and it actually came out as the #1 theme that you guys love, and this is next level nature names. So basically these are nature words that would make a great name but no one is using. They're all pretty unranked, so think kind of like willow, river, forest, my middle name, those types of names, but next level because they're not being used. So I will go through my list. They're all pretty gender neutral because they are words that create names, and you can leave your ideas in the messages below as well. So the first one I've come up with is the name Horixon. I think this makes a beautiful name. This was actually written in to me by somebody for the podcast, for the Baby Name Envy podcast, as a dilemma, saying, is Horixon, does it work as a name? And I thought it worked so well. It really inspired this whole name list. I think that there's something about it that just sounds really complete, which makes a really, really good name. Obviously it means the edge of the land, or the place where the land and the sky appear to meet. So I'm to read that as if I don't know what the horizon is. But I just think it's lovely. I think it's a really hopeful name as well. It takes you straight into really evocative memories as well, like being out by the coast, staring into the horizon. It's very hopeful and longing, and I just think it makes a gorgeous name. I loved nicknames. I love Ronnie as a nickname for Horixon, or Izzy. I like Izzy for both boy and girl, or even for a girl you could go Rizzo, like Horixon with the nickname Rizzo, which is quite a trendy nickname. So what do you think of Horixon? Totally unranked at the moment. The next one is the name Dune, spelt like this, so like a sand dune. This works really well because it sounds like the month June with a J, which is also a name. So it doesn't sound strange, and it's really easy to spell and say once you've seen it. So it's not a complicated nature name, which is what makes me really, really like it as well. Sands dunes again, really evocative, really, really beautiful. We're seeing names like ocean be used a lot, and a lot of water names are coming up, and I feel like Dune is going to be hot on its heels. So you can either just get a very simple sand dune, but also when you're looking up images of sand dunes, you know, those ginormous plains of sand with all the ripples through it. It's just a beautiful imagery that you could really use to theme the baby's bedroom and all things like that, which I think is really, really nice. So yeah, Dune, what do you think of it? I know we have a baby Dune here in the community, so gorgeous one. I love the name Wells. Tiny bit different, but it's so on trend because wells are, you know, you have wishing wells. They are little structures over springs of water that allowed people to get the water out from underneath the earth, and they've been around for many, many years. It's a real ancient name, it's a real antiquity name as well, so I think that might really appeal to a lot of you who want this sort of mixture of. It's also got surname as first name cool. Anything with an S on the end I think sounds really good. Like we all liked it when we were saying we love river, but rivers is even trendier sometimes. So Wells really fits into that for me. I thought the fact that it has got this wishing wells, I think it was really makes it quite magical rather than just kind of a bit plain, because it's got such a strong sort of part of fairy tales, hasn't it? And every time you pass a wishing well you could throw something in, and that's for little baby wells. Also with this whole new well-being trend, it kind of fits into like wellness and these kind of spiritual names that we guys really like. We guys. Next up is the name Delta. I really like Delta at the moment. I think it's really, really cool, and it is got a couple of meanings. So it's wetlands that basically form as rivers go into another body of water. So they're kind of like, so you have deltas all around the world, and I just think it sounds really nice. And as I said, with river being so popular, Delta really fits into that, but it's not as obvious as some of the others because you don't say it all the time. But I think that most of us have seen that word or visited a delta. Delta also, what's interesting about it is the 4th letter of the Greek alphabet, but I think I like that as well. As having a 4th baby, you could consider Delta as well, or if Delta is your 2nd baby and turns you into a family of 4, quite a sweet little meaning as well. But I think it just sounds really, really gentle and nice. Coast, I really love the name Coast. It's obviously meaning the shoreline. You have like this Pacific coast, so the coast of a continent as well. I think it works really well, 1-syllable names. Like we love sage, we love moss, the botanical ones, and coast to me is really lovely. And I think just the 5 letters is a really pretty amount for a name as well. I also like the fact that it almost sounds virtue name as well. So a bit like with all of these, when I've been sort of saying what it evokes to me, because we've all got different associations with names, and that's fine, but to coast also means to go through your life and glide forward without exerting too much power. And I quite like that, because it sounds a bit like coasting. It sounds relaxed, laid back, hippie-ish, you know, like a nice kind of person, just to coast and to enjoy the ride and not just be in an endless hurry or be exerting your power. So actually got quite a cool virtue vibe. That would be a good Kardashian name. I am getting the babe name fever for Kylie Jenner. Yeah, to sail along the coast. It's quite sweet. Next up is Acre, which I really love, and I mentioned this when somebody asked for a Winnie the Pooh themed names. That's the life of a baby name consultant. And I was like, well, what about Acre? Because Winnie the Pooh lived in the 100-acre woods, and I just think it makes a gorgeous name. Again, short, sweet, 2 syllables for either boy or girl, but I do see this as really, really lovely for a little boy. In my mind. But an acre is basically a unit as well. It's a unit of land, so it's kind of got quite a cool, more industrial side to it as well, which might make it appeal to a broader amount of people, basically the dads. But yeah, I do really love Acre, and I think a lot of you could. Harvest is next. I've seen this on a lot of name lists, not a lot, a few name lists that you're sending in, Harvest, and I really like it. You know, we have autumn and we use summer, winter, you know, we use all of those things, and harvest is time. It's a period of time when farmers basically plough and bring in their harvest. So it's also like reaping the meadows, etc. So it's kind of always been, with the harvest festival as well, it's always been a kind of part of children's calendar, but I think it does work really, really well as a name. With Harvey, you know, it's familiar. I think that's what makes a word name work, when it sounds like another name. Particularly Woodrow, I love. It does feel quintessentially British. Woodrow, it means a row of houses by the woods, and it just puts me into cottagecore heaven, Woodrow. So if you love woody but you're not sure, or woods, Woodrow I think is brilliant. And then you could use wood, but I think if I had a Woodrow, I would always say Woodrow, because I just like it so much as a complete, and it makes me prefer it. I'm not mad on woody as much lately, but Woodrow, I'm like in heaven with it. Pembroke is an English place name, but there's probably Pembrokes all around the world, because it's a headland or a narrow strip of land. So it kind of means edge of the land, so a bit like Horizon or the other one, coast. You could also, Pembroke is a name for that, so you see a lot of these coastal places are called Pembroke, but I thought it worked well, like I just said, with Brook being a well-known water nature name. Pembroke sounds nice, with like Peregrine, and those P names is really like Penelope, Piper, we hear P a lot in a name. Am I making any sense? But yeah, Pembroke. It works for me. List it, veto or list it, let me know below. Phyllis, I had to add on to this. I know Phyllis is a bit more of a hidden nature name, so, but I did just sneak it on because I just got in love with it, and it means foliage. So, and then the name became Phyllis, so it's a bit different, but you wouldn't use foliage. I don't think I could recommend foliage to anybody, but Phyllis, I just had to sneak it in. I know she was a Greek mythology character who was turned into an almond tree, then was called Phyllis, which then is the foliage. But yeah, I know it's a bit more hidden, but I love it. All of these are a little bit more hidden, the last few. Bardo, B-A-R-D-O, is gorgeous and means son of the earth. So these are a bit more where it's got a nature meaning to add in as well, but I love it. Bardo, son of the earth. It also does mean water, so it has that nature word meaning as well, but then in Danish it means son of the earth, and it's come back through a lot of, it's an old word for water, so I really love it, and I think it works so well. Again, we always think of Bridget Bardo with a T on the end, but I think it's spelled like this, so wearable. I also liked the fact that a bard, so you know people call Shakespeare a bard, and that is somebody who's a professional storyteller. So I thought that would appeal to so many of you. I literally got a friend in mind who I'm like, I'm going to text her straight after this and say, Bardo, that's your baby name. And I think, again, for boy or girl, and I think it's an alternative to Bodhi that everyone's obsessed with, you could go with Bardo. Vermont is a really interesting one, because it is a place name, but it actually means green mountain, which is quite obvious when you say it, because it's French for green mountain, Vermont, but you do know it as the state in America, Vermont. But Vermont is known as the Green Mountain State. I didn't know that. I've never been to Vermont. I did look it up. It looks like a beautiful place. Lots of outdoor sports, lots of skiing. So that would appeal to people who like names like Aspen, which is a tree name. Vermont meaning green mountain really appeals to me. And I think Monty is a nickname, which we always say with anything with Mont at the end. I've got Solstice, which I absolutely love. It's a nature word meaning when the sun stands still. So it's a phenomenon that happens. There's a winter solstice and a summer solstice, and it's the shortest day of summer and winter. You know that I always regret not using this because I got married on summer solstice. My husband's Swedish and they do a lot of pagan ceremonies around then, as you know if you've watched Midsummer. And then my daughter was born on winter solstice, so I have to do solstice themed things for her. Maybe I'm just going to change it and pop it in the middle. Do you reckon Evelina Blossom Solstice? I really want her to have it in her name. It means, yeah, the position of the sun. So it's the 2 times of year when the sun's apparent position in the sky reaches its northernmost and then southernmost extremes. I think it's beautiful. I love S names for girls. I think if we're considering summer, you might go, actually, is summer really worn? I might go solstice. Sorry to my sister who has a summer. But yeah, I do absolutely love it. The same with winter. I've also added in the very last one is canyon. And I love the name Canyon. I think it works so well because, again, like I've said all through the video, like Cameron, it just works because it sounds like a name. It looked really cool on paper. It sounds strong, outdoorsy boy name to me, but obviously gender neutral. It means a large ravine or a narrow valley between the cliffs. I think we're all familiar with it, and I think it's romantic, outdoorsy, a bit like Heath, which would have fitted onto this list, but feels a bit grander scale, like a lot of these names. So those are my next level nature words that make brilliant baby names. I would love you to continue this list in the comment section below. I would love you to subscribe to this channel if you're naming a baby, or share this with a pregnant friend who you think would enjoy my channel. That would mean a lot to me. Don't forget there's a brand new podcast episode. Baby Name Envy is a consultancy where we take all of your dilemmas and answer them, and this week we have somebody who's running out of time, but a family friend had used her favourite baby name, which was Rudy, and also is Horixon too brave? And then I went on to give her some other options as well, which we would enjoy if you enjoy this list. So that is it, up now wherever you get your podcast, Baby Name Envy. If you want to submit a dilemma, you can do so, Baby Name Envy, the Instagram. We just hit 20,000, so we're really chuffed with that big community over there. Really vibrant, interactive stuff if you love naming as well. And I will see you next Monday for very special. We're going to start the winter themes. Yay, winter baby. See you guys.